Hello and welcome to part 2. Now if you're on part two, okay, please go back to part 1. Even if you feel like you've seen a lot of the work in it, maybe you could just zip through it a bit. I just feel like I'm making these videos because so much of this has just got, either it got overlooked and I didn't make any video about it at all, or it's been buried in a big avalanche of videos and nobody will ever go back and look at them because there's been so many new ones about more contemporary things that are happening now with the Wild Spirit revamps and so forth, and I really feel that some of these things are going to be overlooked and they're just going to be closed back up in my folder, and it might be nice to just have a little look, especially if people are new and haven't seen those old videos. So this is, on the left, the original of the page of coins. You'll notice that the chap, the protagonist, the main character, did appear on the next page of coins that appeared in the deck, the actual deck. I liked him, so I redid him in a different form, but he's being offered notes, and that just, I did it, and then I thought, no, all of these cards have to have coins in them. That just does not work. So the dog walker now is completely different, as you will know if you've got the Everyday Enchantment version, but it has some nice little moments where he's walking the dogs by the sea or on the shore of a loch, I'm not sure, and it's somebody giving him the thumbs up in the same way they are in the actual version that passed muster and ended up in the deck. Now the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of blades, and again, I said in the first video, my mum was kind of the my tester of these, and I think she suggested this might be a good idea, and then when I actually did it, it was like, well, it's not very everyday, is it? And it's also kind of, you know, it's a bit scary, really. She's tied up to a wheel. She looks really, really distressed. And although it's a very difficult card, but is this the best way to depict it? And I don't think, although it's quite nicely done and I'm pleased with it, it was rejected because I rejected it because it wasn't everyday enough. It was a little bit too disturbing and my mum didn't like it, so if she didn't like it, then I knew that she, was probably right. I don't remember who he was meant to be. Goodness, I will do when the video is finished. I will think, oh yes, it's him, but probably he was the hermit, wasn't he? He must have been the hermit. I am 19% sure that he was the hermit, and he's very nice, but he doesn't conjure up that kind of seeking of knowledge going within. He's just having, he does, because I tried to include the element of the book and showing that he is in retreat, but he's also very much kind of engaged in the world, which a bit too much. And it's a lovely image. I suppose I just wanted to get a nice sort of nighttime in the snow man with a wagon image, which is a lovely image, and it would make a great piece of artwork because he's got such a lovely face and he's looking into the distance, obviously thinking deeply, and it would have worked in that respect, but it just was not good enough for the piece because these cards really had to say they had to distill that meaning down. I worked on the book and the cards to get the best possible thing so that you could look at it and you could read it without knowing much about the tarot and know exactly which card it would represent because of the cues relating to the Rider-Waite-Smith card, which this doesn't at all, I don't think. This was just a lovely piece of artwork. Anyway, I'm glad I did it because it's very nice, but it's not correct in the same way as this one was not good enough for the Empress card, because she just doesn't, she looks quite smug. She looks like, yeah, I've got it all. Look at my handsome husband and my lovely children, and look, they all love me, and my dog loves me, and it's all very nice. Yes, she's very nice, but I wanted somebody warm and welcoming and lovely and nurturing and loving, and the whole thing being the whole of her kitchen being kind of aglow with love, and she just doesn't, she's not welcoming and warm enough. Just looks a little bit too self-satisfied. So I'm sorry, she had to go. Same for the star. My mum was confused by what was going on here. It was too chaotic. She's she's leading people out, small child, woman, very bloodied man, out of a building, because obviously there was a kind of a link between my tower and the star card of a disaster that she was helping with. But she just looks too happy and not serene like the actual star card in the Everyday Enchantment deck. The girl looks so serene and so glowing and just so altruistically lovely. Yes, almost, this girl just looks kind of like, yeah, well, and she doesn't, though she's doing something, she doesn't look that involved. And there's a hand coming up here. I involved the elements of this into the actual piece, but there were hands reaching in that one as well. But you felt very much in the actual piece. If you go back and look at the star card, she's actually helping, she's reaching out, she's doing something. This girl just looks like she's walking through rubble, and the rubble just looks like a jumble. It was not a successful piece overall, although the faces, I mean, look at him, he looks really kind of in shock, but it just didn't have it all overall. Nicely done, but just and too much jumble really. So I can remember if I handed my mum a card and she went, oh, or oh, I like that, or if she just was kind of staring at it, I'd think, no, she doesn't, and if my mum didn't understand it, then she was kind of my barometer, because I wanted so much for people to see a card, even if they were completely unfamiliar with the tarot, and to go, oh, that means, you can see that very clearly, that expresses something immediately. This is like, well, really, what's going on? Why does she look like that? So yeah. So this is the Two of Wands. I had this idea right back from, I was really reluctant to leave go of this idea, because the Two of Wands, 2 knitting needles, it had to be. But it didn't have any relation really to the meaning of the card. So, again, there are some lovely elements to it. Not entirely happy with her face, it's okay. Cat, knitting, but her hands are nice. But no, I had to let it go, because it just, okay, it's a lady knitting. It doesn't really say anything about the Two of Wands. And that was kind of where I started off with the Everyday Enchantment deck, is like, yes, I had this idea, wands are knitting needles, I have to put them in, but they didn't always fit and they had to be rejected. And I think we finished the Everyday Enchantment sort of things that did not pass. Now there was probably loads of them that didn't pass, that didn't even get to that kind of, these are the ones that got to the finished stage, and then I thought, oh, I've done them, and then I went, no, I haven't. But there were probably loads of them that didn't even get to that stage. They probably got half done, and I thought, what am I doing? This is not the essence of this card. It's exactly the same with these two. These were the first 2 Solstice Saviour cards that I did. I wanted to do an honouring every winter solstice for the Hunt saboteurs, of whom I am a supporter and very enamoured of them. In fact, they're just heroic and wonderful, as are all hunt monitoring groups. But these two just were kind of prototype and didn't do it. It wasn't until scrumply. We're here. Are we here? No. Oh, blimmin' heck, now I've lost my place. Yes, it's wonky and heartfelt. Let me find it. There we are, back here, right at the back. Come on. Then we had him. He was the final version where success had been achieved. I got everything there that I wanted to, and was very, very happy with that version. This version just looks kind of sad and shocked, and the fox isn't as detailed as it could be, and this composition is not successful at all. So those two were kind of prototype of Solstice Saviour. This was a card I did. That's the actual printed version. I can read you the back of it if we've got time. This was a piece of art I did when I was working with Slippery Jacks, and this was going to be, I think, it's difficult to remember now, this was going to be given away when somebody bought a copy of my deck and book set, because Slippery Jacks Press did the second edition of my Wild Spirit Tarot book, which is the only one that exists now. So I did them an edited version of that. They printed it up for me beautifully. I put that along with the remainder decks that I'd bought, and I gave or sold, mostly gave away, copies of the deck and book set. And she kindly, lady from Slippery Jacks Press, who I don't think exists anymore, if you're out there, hello, she produced this card for me to give away with it as a kind of a gift bonus, and it is called Thy Garland Green. It's got the Wild Spirits sign on the back of it. I'll just read it very quickly. It says, every autumn and winter machines brutally hack apart British hedgerows, so English hedgerows, it should be British really, leaving them broken and bereft of life. These bitter boughs bear no fruit and give no shelter. As a result, many species dependent on those wild areas suffer. The earth is denied the seeds for renewal and husks and leaves for compost. It is left to us to feed the birds and provide sanctuary in our gardens. When those who have the privilege of being the custodians of the land seem least caring, we can, at least, keep our own garland green. And Garland Green Keep Our Garland Green came from an Emily Bronte poem. This card is only available with the Wild Spirit deck and book set. Thank you for your purchase, which supports animal welfare organisations. That was 2012. This is the last remaining card. There are no more, so I shall put it back in the folder. Yes, so that was prompted by the fact that every autumn, and they're still doing it, every autumn those slashing machines come out and they just wreck hedgerows. They just slash them right off. Right at the point when all those birds and insects and creatures need places to hide and eat and things for winter, and when all of the things that would naturally decompose from those places have been just chopped off and chucked. I don't even know what they do with the stuff that they hack off, but they just leave all the branches broken and open to disease. It's horrid. Anyway, that's what that was all about. Moving on, these were just some little images I did for a food magazine, and they're rather nicely done, but they don't really warrant us looking at them for too long. They're all the healing herbs. There's star anise there. Now going right back, I think, yes, I think now we're looking at images from this book, again printed by Green Magic. I wrote this under a pseudonym a long time ago. A lovely book, but not where I'm at now, but it's still a worthwhile and lovely book. And these were the illustrations I did for it. You will notice that there is the man with the long hair and the moustache again, who was my partner who kept appearing in all my pictures back then. Yes, they're nice. You can see how they've moved away from the graphic style and have gone towards the Wild Spirit, the Everyday Enchantment style. You can see how then they were moving away, even though they're grayscale, there's no harsh black lines, or so you can see that there, how I was progressing even back then. So I had transitioned, and of course that was after the Wild Spirit deck was published and remained in such a short space of time. So this was my new style, and this was a character from Alicia from my book The Greening, who again has been done in that style because I just love such beautiful faces like that. There's a feather at the bottom. I shall show you both of them. This one was in the book Green Spirituality. I actually did the Wild Spirituality ones I did in colour, and then they were just reduced into grayscale. I just did these in grayscale because I knew they'd be printed in grayscale. I didn't even think about doing them in colour, to be honest. But you can see where this would have gone to in terms of style. There's a lovely couple in the wood there, and kind of Diana the Huntress kind of energy there in this one. Hope you can see them. We're on 15 minutes, you see, so I'm not going to dwell too long. And there's a lovely wagon again, because I do so love lovely wagons of the old style. It's a little vignette, tin of flowers and butterfly. So you can really see how my work was moving into the everyday enchantment style. Around this time I was also doing a lot of work for a magazine, I think, called Mind, Body, Spirit. I've done a video on that nobody seemed to be particularly interested in, but I had a different style again for that, which was very much watercolour based, but this was my main style that led into the everyday enchantment deck. You can see that very much from that owl there, how that progressed. This is a character called Liane from my book The Greening, which was a self-published novel. A lot of people liked it at the time, but I don't think it's even known about now. It would need re-editing and rewriting, because it was written before I really learned how to edit and to distill my work down to just what it should say. I loved words too much, I was too wordy, and it just went on a bit. So, but people did like the story, and she was the main character in it. Not sure, I think this came from Green Spirituality again, just the Tree of Life with the cauldron and the snake at the bottom. Quite nice. I'll just show you those together. This is from The Greening, which I was talking about, the book The Greening that I wrote, the novel, front cover and back cover, both again of the character Liane. There we are. This was just a one-off piece that I did after I'd been very ill, and I didn't know whether I could actually draw anymore. It's really sad. So this is like kind of tentative little foray into, can I still draw? So it was not quite where it should have been really, but it was at least a start into getting back into my work after I'd been so ill. So that's what that one is. This one was just a piece that I felt like doing. This was for a magazine, I'm not sure, I think it was probably Pentacle magazine. I don't even know whether Pentacle magazine still exists. It was very much inspired by West Penwith in Cornwall, Cernow is how I always say it, but I don't know. Probably Cornish people are cringing as I utter such blasphemous desecration of their language, but anyway, I adore that place, and that was what it was. It was just a lovely piece, to kind of a magical piece about the land of West Penwith, used on a magazine cover, as was this one, which is this kind of a fey spirited being with a black bird. That was on a Pentacle cover. That one was something that was included in a post office competition for a Christmas card. I don't know why. It's a nice piece, but that's very old. Quickly, because we need to get on. Yes, another cover. This one was from Wood and Water magazine, which does not exist anymore. Pencil drawing, which I enjoyed doing as well. And on the right, I have a picture of, I'm pretty sure that's Hecate, and it has a lot of meaning. That was a commission that I did for a lovely lady who worked at the British Museum, who I have sorry forgotten your name, it's been a long time, but she suggested all the elements that would go into it, and I think she was happy with it. And so it has got all everything she wanted. That was actually an A3, so that's a print of the A3, when I could do prints that actually looked good. So yeah, there are some really nice elements in this. It would be nicer to spend more time on it, but I am running out of time, and I am not going to do a part 3. No. They're just two little, a cat and a dog to fit into somewhere, just to practice doing a cat and a dog for some reason. And this one was the winner of a Pagan Dawn card competition. If I got that out, it was yeah, it was ages old. Ages old. I don't even know whether Pagan Dawn magazine still exists. No, it was, what was it called before it was Pagan Dawn? It was called something else, wasn't it? Oh, answers on a postcard. What was it called before it was called Pagan Dawn? Because nobody really liked that name change. It was like, who's Pagan Dawn? Yeah, what was it called before that? Hang on a second. If I find out, I'll put it in the comment, in the bit below, the blurb below the video. But that was a winner of the card. So they gave me a card of it. It was one of the winners. It wasn't the winner. There was a collection. They did a collection of cards that they gave away, which was very nice of them. Again, 2 more pencil drawings. The one on the right you'll recognise transformed itself into a Wild Spirit card. The one on the left is very strange. I was just playing around with strangeness, really, just strange imagery, strange old tarot imagery, strange. Can't really tell you what I was doing there, what it meant, but something at the time, and it's in old style. And then we come on to just bits, including my poor old haunt god personage who was called Metrosexual. Yeah, that's it. I actually managed to finish it. There you go. So it would have been nice to look at something else, wouldn't it, while I'm just finishing off there. Have some books. Right, that's it. There'll be no more of these now. I just wanted to cover everything that I probably could. Then there are other things I could show you, like my Ray Beth art or whatever, but I've done so many videos, and I don't want to overwhelm you. It's just that I really felt like a lot of that, which is quite, you know, some of that was quite recent, and some of it had relevance to the Everyday Enchantment deck, and some of it had relevance to the Wild Spirit deck. And we've been talking about that so recently that I thought it was worth going back over. But there will be no more now. I am not just going to keep going on, fishing things out of my archives, going, look at this, look at this, look at this. I'm not doing any more. So you have been very patient, sticking with me for all of those. I'm coming up to the time when I'll get cut off. So I will thank you. I will thank you for watching anything that you've watched of mine. I will thank you for your support. I will thank you for your comments. I will thank you for just being. Thank you for being. Thank you for being a lovely, lovely person who is interested in this sort of thing, who has a generous spirit and an open heart, and who is the sort of person that I would like to give a big hug to. So thank you all. Lots of love always for all our relations. Stay free, and bye.